5, 4, 3. The Bitcoin Group, the American original. For over the last 10 seconds, the sharpest Satoshis, the best Bitcoins, the hardest cryptocurrency talk. We'd like to welcome our panelists. Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister.
Hey, pound that like button.
Ben Ark from BTC IoT.
Hello all. Shemai.
And I'm Thomas Hunt from the World Crypto Network. Moving on to issue 1. Issue 1. 169-year-old MassMutual insurance company invests $100 million in Bitcoin. The mutual insurer has purchased $100 million in Bitcoin for its general investment fund, the latest mainstream firm to dabble in digital assets. The firm, which has been around since 1851, is the latest to invest in the fledgling cryptocurrency. The investment in Bitcoin will represent 0.04% of the general investment account of nearly $235 billion as of September 30th. MassMutual said they see this initial investment as a first step, and like any investment, they may explore future opportunities. Adam Meister, your thoughts on Massachusetts Mutual Life Insurance joining Bitcoin?
Welcome to the party. This is where the big boys play. That's what I have to say to them. Okay? I expected more companies jumping in on the game since MicroStrategy started this pile on back in the summer. It seems like every week we get a new company. So it's all one big blur to me. MassMutual, if it's going to be Citibank next week, it's all similar, okay? The corporations, the institutions are here. So if you're an individual out there, there's no excuse. They're here. Don't tell me in 2024 you didn't know about it. These guys know about it. The rich are getting richer, but you can also get rich. You can also join this party. There's no one stopping you. Don't make an excuse and say, oh, it's just the Wall Street guys. Now, some people are worried about the Wall Streetification of Bitcoin. And, well, it's something to think about, definitely, because that's who's joining right now. The regular average Joe on the street, you don't see I haven't heard too much from those dudes. So we will get into a little bit of a predicament eventually when we start talking about KYC type of antics. Will these Wall Street guys be as passionate about no KYC or KYC related materials as the regular Bitcoiner who's been here for a while? So that's something to look forward to. But otherwise, everyone's welcome. The beauty of Bitcoin, we can't prevent, if you don't like the banks, well, you can't stop them from joining, okay? The only thing you can do is buy more. So I think we will hear their perspective eventually when it comes to KYC and regulation, and it might differ from what we're thinking here. But hey, welcome to the game. My question is, who's next? Who's next, as a great wrestler once said.
We'll also hear their perspective on privacy. Ben Ark.
Yeah, I mean, I like what Adam said about, anyone can join in. I think that's the point, isn't it? It's the easiest asset to on-ramp onto, particularly, a bearer asset. You can just sit on your computer and you can do it. You can buy some Bitcoin and you can create a wallet and you can store them, and you can store them in a way which is safe. You can go buy a hardware wallet. It's easy to on-ramp onto, and I think a lot of millennials feel far more comfortable on-ramping on something like Bitcoin rather than something like gold, for example. So I think that's a very powerful use case. I know it. I know plenty of people who've traded with cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin, and they've never been near traditional trading. for better or for worse. So yeah, as an on-ramp asset, I mean, that's just one great use case, yet another great use case for Bitcoin. But the numbers, like 0.04% as an initial investment of 2.3 billion, like it's a phenomenal amount of money, and as an initial investment. So yes, the smartest people in the room are buying up Bitcoin, but for the bags they hold, it's not a great deal of Bitcoin, and there's still this huge ocean of liquidity which can pour into that little pond of Bitcoin. Again, and also, but I mean, so I'm not so worried about when it comes to KYC. In that, I think our fears before, when we were in Bitcoin and we were outside of traditional finance, was that we were worried that the people who have government's ear, the big financial institutions, wouldn't like the fact that people were accumulating an asset outside of their control. But now they're accumulating that asset. It actually pumps their bags if there's less KYC, and if people are freer to do that in a sort of censorship-resistant, non-custodial way. So, the JP Morgans of this world, who've got a gov's ear, are going to be a very helpful and instrumental in removing some of those blocks, which I think we were worried were going to be in the way when it came to investing in Bitcoin. So yeah, no, the smartest people in the room are buying up Bitcoin, it seems, it's we've not seen nothing yet. They're just getting into it, and every day there's a new news article about some big institutional investor pumping Bitcoin, which is absolutely phenomenal when you think about what Bitcoin was like 3-4 years ago. So yeah, bullish, and good for them. They've finally kind of piled in, but there's still plenty of room for it to move up.
Adam, go ahead.
I think this is the destruction of one FUD narrative also, that people still try to pull this out of their backsides, that the United States will make Bitcoin illegal. No, I mean, with all these Wall Street dudes buying it now, I think that's past. So that's when MassMutual is making announcements like this, it's not going to become illegal all of a sudden. No. I think we've gone past that point, and welcome MassMutual. At least there's a positive we can get out of it.
Well, I agree with what Adam said and what Ben said. I also want to focus in on what Ben said, that it's only 0.04 of their total amount of their total investments. So there's a lot more of this money that can come into Bitcoin. The smart people are investing in Bitcoin, but they're smart. They're investing in it slowly. They're not like you or me with our E-Trade account, jumping into this and jumping out of that. They're jumping in slowly. And I think the other key here is that they don't have to worry about rent. They don't have to worry about food. These people aren't selling to live. These people are holding for a certain amount of time or a certain amount of profit or whatever preset conditions they've decided. And they're a whole different kind of investor. So this is going to change the way the Bitcoin market moves. And it is going to bring us hopefully from a beginner to a more intermediate stage. And then maybe beyond that, advanced and expert will continue climbing up, crossing the chasm, all of that startup stuff. But I think Adam's right. Well, before we go to that, first of all, we're having a like competition today. Last week, we got 88 likes, which is a lot of likes. That's the number of keys on a piano, 88 keys. So if everyone could just give us a like down below, they're free. Every YouTube show asks for this. They ask for the likes and the subscribes and the comments, because that's how YouTube judges shows. So if we could get to 100 likes this week, more people would be shown this show, more people would like and watch the show. So that's what that's about. So we'll remind you, and we'll just keep reminding you, but let's try to beat 88. I think you guys can do it. Adam was ahead of us with the exit question. Who's next? Adam, what bank, what company, what country, what do you want to say? Who's next into Bitcoin? I agree with Ben. It's been a new giant hedge fund, a new giant insurance company, a new giant rich person every week. So it's getting harder and harder to say, but who have you got that's next?
Well, I got to say, pound that. You've got the pound that like button guy here. So that's going to remind you guys to beat 88. All right. And 88, that was apparently a very bad year because the Orioles lost 21 games in a row to start the season. We don't like to remember that. So let's get to 89, much better. But who is next? Well, first of all, these big boys, they've got egos. So I hope they start competing with each other and try to outdo the next one. Right now, Michael Saylor has become like the spokesperson for Bitcoin. I hope there's some other corporate dude out there that wants to become the next Michael Saylor and get louder than him. So who's next? It's going to actually be, it won't be a country. It won't be a country yet. That'll be after we get some big corporate Bitcoin, a big boy. I think the next news that's going to really rock us is we're going to hear like a bank. A bank has done it. That'll be the next level. But right now we're on like big corporate level. So I think bank, and then after that, the only thing that could beat a bank in the land of the corporate world is one of the FANG companies. So I don't want to make a prediction on what bank, but a bank, and then the next level up after that is one of the FANGs, Apple, Facebook, who knows.
Ben Ark.
Yeah, I think it'll be more. I mean, obviously, more people are going to pile into Bitcoin, but I think it's more going to be those initial investments of 0.04 are going to get pumped crazy, and they'll end up making 5% of their portfolio because it's a very justifiable asset to have in their portfolio. So it's going to be the ones who are already in are going to pile in a lot more money into Bitcoin, and then others will just join. I don't know any names for these big money institution, whatever. But yeah, no, it's just the beginning. The floodgates are opening.
Adam's right. It will be a bank. It will not be the Bank of Italy, because the Bank of Italy, founded in San Francisco, changed their name to Bank of America. Bank of America will get into Bitcoin next. They'll have a massive domino effect where all of the other banks follow, and they'll say, why didn't we think of that? Why weren't we the first? We could have been the first, but the first was Bank of America. Moving on to issue 2. Bitcoin price predictions. Bitcoin price to surge 1,000%. Be insanely bullish. Galssnode CTO says. That's not Galssnode. It's a Galssnode, International Business Times. Bitcoin price insanely bullish. Most of the on-chain metrics are in a similar position as the 2017 bull run. An increase similar to the one in 2017 could put Bitcoin at a 6-figure price. Traders, however, are bearish with Bitcoin for the short term. I wish I had the soundboard. It would be like, ha ha. Ben Ark, what do you think about the price of Bitcoin? Will it surge 1,000%?
Well, I mean, so I actually dug up something on this note. So back in, I think it was 2017, May 2017, I did a Reddit post and I just compared, I think it was 2013, I got it here, 2013's pump. I'll share the screen and you can see it. 2013's pump to, here we go. If I share this now, can you see that? Wait there. If I zoom, I'm clicking around like an idiot here. Oh, here we go. So if I'm zooming in, can you see me zooming in?
Yep, we can see you zooming in.
Brilliant. There we are. So yeah, I love this. This is the best price call I ever did. And it was May 2017, and I just said, look, if we take what happened in 2014-17, or what happened in 2013 with the pump in 2013, and then we just imagine that same uptick is going to happen in 2017, which it did at the end of 2017, then we're going to have like a £20,000 Bitcoin. $20,000 Bitcoin, and a lot of people are like very critical of it, like, no, it's not going to happen, blah blah blah. And then lo and behold, that's what we had. So if we look here now, I call this the "Don't Be an Asshole" day trading technical analysis indicator, because yes, bears may be, traders may be bearish at the moment, but all this movement here is people getting wrecked. And losing their bags. It's a dangerous game. You may make a little bit of money, but you're likely not to. However, if you buy Bitcoin and hold it for 5 years, then you're very likely to make a lot of money. So if you can't wait 5 years to make a big fat stack of cash, then you're an idiot and you shouldn't just don't day trade. You shouldn't be day trading. So this is what we've had now. Interestingly, the 2014 to 2017 pump, I think it's a sort of it was May 2017. So it was about there where I where I made the prediction that it was going to spike right up. It looks this is a 5-year, out of a 5-year chart, and this is the exact same scale, and they're very comparable charts. And you can see that we're here. Then yes, we have dropped a bit, and it's bearish, but we're going to have the equivalent of what happened in the end of the beginning of 2014 and the end of 2017. We're going to have this huge, crazy pump, and the reason that I think I'm going to touch into one of our other topics now, but the reason that no one seems to care is because we're down here, like we're in the FOMO, everyone talking about Bitcoin and all that momentum which is building now with all these big institutional investors buying up Bitcoin. We're still really low, and the predictions which are out there by people saying, $200,000 Bitcoin, $250,000 Bitcoin, that makes sense. Like if you compare it over those last pumps we've had in Bitcoin, that's a very feasible price target. And we all know that the technology is like a gazillion times better than it was in 2017. That this was an unsustainable perfect storm of FOMO which happened. But now, we've got the bedrock of a more sustainable FOMO pump thing. So don't be an asshole. Don't day trade. Don't care what bears are saying in the short term. Don't care what bulls are saying in the short term. Just concentrate on the 5-year outlook. Buy your Bitcoin, hold your Bitcoin, buy a little bit every month, and then just make sure you don't do anything with it for 5 years. Give it 5 years. And there's two outcomes. One outcome is you'll lose everything, and Bitcoin will crash to nothing, which we all know is very, very unlikely. The other outcome is that it's going to be worth an absolute fortune, and you'll probably never have to work ever again, and that's within a 5-year period. So don't be an asshole. Don't day trade. And let me see if I can unshare this. Why am I such a technical idiot? Here we go. So that was my very proud price prediction I made in May 2017, predicting the pump. And don't care what the bears say. Just hold Bitcoin.
Well, it has been something to see all these Johnny-come-latelys with their price predictions, each one with a better and better pedigree and a later and later price prediction. I know if you go back to the very first episode of Mad Bitcoins in 2013, Mad Bitcoin says, buy Bitcoin. And that was it. 2013, I haven't updated my prediction. I haven't changed my wave chart or any triangles. I just said, hey, it's 2013, buy Bitcoin. There you go. And as far as like calling a certain number, I hear a competition to who can call the biggest number, 200,000, 500,000, $1 million a coin. Once again, Mad Bitcoins has trumped you as well, calling infinity, that the price of Bitcoin will rise to encompass all of the world's assets, and then it will flip and everything will be denominated in how much Bitcoin it's worth, rather than the other way around. But Adam Meister knows all about that. Adam Meister, we going up 1,000%? What do you think?
Oh my, the clickbait. It will never end. It will never end. And I was entertained. Good for us too, though. Good for us too. I was entertained by the high number predictions back in 2013, 14, and 15 when I was relatively new. It was cool. But there comes a point when it's just like, and the Galssnode, they're doing it scientifically, okay? They've got some logic behind it and everything. But man, if you need to be assured by like some authority telling you it's going to be $1 million one day, I don't know if you should even be. I mean, you got to think it out for yourself, people. Now, we're past the point of no return when it says, go to zero. It's not going back to zero. People should not have that fear. No, I mean, bad things could happen and they're unpredictable. But we passed that going back to zero fear. That FOMO, that's from 2015 and everything. But what do I think about price here? This is the simple thing. You take any point in time and you subtract 210,000 blocks from it, okay? That's basically 46 months. That's basically 4 years. Bitcoin is worth more than it was then. So, I mean, I just tell people, live by the 210,000 block rule, okay? You buy it today, and this is my prediction, 210,000 blocks from this second, Bitcoin is going to be worth more for you fiat freaks out there. But you should just know that one Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin. Who cares what it's worth in dollars or Turkish lira or whatever? All right. I mean, first of all, if you're in Turkey, God almighty, if you're still in the lira, you're way behind the times on that one, baby. But yeah, 210,000 block theory, which is, you're talking about 5 years. I'm simplifying it even more. That's less than 4 years. So any point in time, the theory, it has remained true. You subtract 210,000 blocks from today. That is basically was January or February of 27. It was February of 2017, and yeah, it's a lot more than $1,300 right now. But we also let's think about the cycle here in terms of 210,000 block theory. Also, at 210,000 blocks ago, we just attained a new all-time high, and we were slowly moving up. And then it seemed like every month we would get a new all-time high until about 6 months later when it was just like incredibly explosive. So, I mean, I see the same thing happening that happened about 210,000 blocks ago. It rhymes. It's not going to repeat exactly, but 2021 is the new 2017. But remember, Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. All right.
Nice.
All right. Pound that like button. We're up to 26 likes. On our way, hopefully, to beat our record of 88. Thanks to the 42 viewers. Make sure you push that like button down below. On to the exit question. The price of Bitcoin this time next week, higher or lower? Ben Ark.
I think I'm muted there. I'm unmuted there. So there we are. There's an Ellen Bitzel URL faucet there. If you've got your Lightning wallet, your wallet Satoshi, your Blue wallet, scan that bad boy. You'll get 2,000 sats. Boom. So I don't know. Last time I predicted a higher price, but I do actually think that, in line with those fractally things, maybe there's a little bit of bearish, but I don't care. Like, just hold those Bitcoins. Don't get scared. Have your security model in such a way that you can't easily access them and sell them quickly. Secure them in such a way that they're hard to sell. And just sit on them. So so maybe a little bit down, maybe up, who knows. But here's some free sats, 2,000 free sats. But you can hit that faucet a few times if you want.
Free Lightning Satoshis unclaimed so far. Adam Meister, higher or lower?
Well, right now we're at 16,969, and I think during your show next week, I think we'll be at about 18,000, which is not that much higher. So I see a little bit higher next week. Not going to make really that big of a difference. We might, between now and then, we could get it could drop quite a bit. But I think by next Friday we'll get back to 18,000. But I'll say this: it's been a great year. It has been if you've been in Bitcoin, and I think that we're not going to get back to the all-time high until next year. But the good news is what next year is in 20 freaking days. So I don't want anybody. 2020, be satisfied with it. Get pumped for 2021. I don't see us getting to 20K for the rest of this year, though.
Just hold on. All right. I usually say higher, but I'm going to agree with the group. I think we might go a little bit lower because we touched the sky, and then we're going to retreat back.
Can you imagine, just on a side note, like 2020 was such a shit show? And so depressing with all the COVID stuff. I know we've got these vaccines and everything. We're kind of coming out, whatever. But society's coming out of that issue. Can you imagine like the general jubilation of 2021? People are going to be so relieved that 2020 is behind them, not even disregarding Bitcoin. So there'll just be hopefully a very positive vibe in 2021 anyway. So I'm sure that will help Bitcoin pump.
Let's hope for a more positive vibe in the new year, and all of that, of course, is good for business, good for everybody. Did you know the World Crypto Network has its own store at shop.worldcryptonetwork.com? You could get World Crypto Network the mug, World Crypto Network the t-shirt, and the popular Treasures Don't Float, and Bitcoin Not Bombs, Bitcoin Halvening 2020 edition. It's hard to believe at the beginning of this year we were celebrating a halvening, but get them all at shop.worldcryptonetwork.com. Issue 3, Bitcoin could hit 20K again, but this time no one cares. As Gizmodo says, If you've been watching the crypto markets over the past few weeks, you'll have noticed something special. Bitcoin, everyone's favorite decentralized digital currency based upon hype, lies, and general malfeasance, is about to hit 20K. But no one cares. No one in the mainstream media, no normal people care. No one but Bitcoin people care. Adam Meister, why does no one care about the Bitcoin run this time?
Well, the retail, they haven't woken up to the fact yet. It's boring to them when they hear about Michael Saylor buying all this. That's a story that CNBC covers, not the main networks. Okay, so last time there was some sparkle around it too because of the ICO madness, and that created a lot of attention. This time we don't have that yet. I think that the DeFi stuff will pick up and take the place of the ICO madness. But in general, in normie land, they have been, the narrative that has been fed to normies is that this is a sad year. This 2020 has been bad. You're stuck. You're kind of dependent right now. And there's not that easy transition into like this whole happy world of Bitcoin. I have told people, if you're looking for a mentor this year, find someone that feels that 2020 has been a positive year for them. For me, 2020 has been a positive year. I can look beyond the negatives, but there are plenty of people that cannot look beyond the negatives, and thus they don't care about Bitcoin. And the mainstream media has had an election to cover. They've had a sickness to cover, and it's just they can't. They don't have time for Bitcoin. So that's part of the reason that no one cares. But if you dig deep, you see there are plenty of people who do care. It's just in normie land, it's not getting attention. It's really unfortunate for those people who have to be spoon-fed news, who can't do their own research, that they're going to miss out on this. It's unfortunate, but hey, man, personal responsibility is the new counterculture. If Michael Saylor can find out about it, they can find out about it. There are sources out there. We've been talking about it for years and years and years. But yeah, it definitely feels like there is not that mad rush of retail into this right now. If there was, they'd be spazzing out and whatnot. The dudes who are rushing into it are the Michael Saylors of the world. They are just they're calm about their promotion. I mean, they're promoting it and everything, but it's just not it's not the same as 2017 yet. I do think the retail will be here. I do think the mainstream media will wake up to it, and I do think that the DeFi will add this irrational exuberance that the ICO did last time.
Ben Ark, is Adam correct? Is everyone so bummed out about 2020 that nothing good can happen this year?
Well, this is what I'm saying. See, it's amazing. Like, you know, I mean, I feel like we're clawing our way out of 2020. And even if 2020 was a positive time for you, then generally in 2021, it's going to be a much more. Everyone's going to be happy that 2020 is just out of the way, and we can all move on. And we're going to have some real repercussions when it comes to money. Like, a lot of countries have been printing a lot of money and boosting their own stocks to try and get themselves through this 2020 and the pandemic and everything else. I'm not against like modern monetary theory. I think you can stimulate economies, and I think you can create fiscal growth, but you can't just print money and buy shares and then expect that to create fiscal growth. It's not going to create fiscal growth. You're not producing anything more. You're just fiddling the books. And you're going to have to, that's going to have to account for that in 2021. So I think there will be, and I think this is probably why a lot of these big institutional investors are getting into Bitcoin, because they can see that for countries who want to have their own sovereign currency, like some sort of token sidechain on Bitcoin, which they can have federated, so it's less easy to kind of, just print more. They have to go through at least some sort of sense of democracy in some way. Then, Bitcoin's a very viable way of doing that. And then you have as it's pegged to Bitcoin, you then have this medium of exchange which countries can use between themselves, just in that kind of Keynesian Bancor model, for countries to be able to send value to each other. And we've seen quite a few countries thinking about adopting Bitcoin as a way to circumnavigate sanctions and from the US dollar. So I think the next year we'll not only see obviously big institutional-based investors using it as a store of value for their portfolios, but we'll also see a lot of countries thinking about using Bitcoin as part of their economy, like in a serious way, because it's a very good. It's proved itself. The technology's proved itself. And the technology is so much further along than it was in 2000. Not that it didn't have potential in 2017, but we hadn't just built it out. Like the software wasn't built. The software is being built now. Like it's there. You know, we've got a lot of good examples. We've got Liquid Network. We've got Lightning. We've got these sidechains which are running very well. Soon we'll have RGB. Yes, I agree that DeFi is going to throw up a lot of issues, and it will act like something of an ICO bubble. But there will be some good DeFi projects which are used for people who have a percentage of their Bitcoin reserve, which they want, to a profit on. They'll be able to lock up and take some profit. And I know maybe some exchanges which are holding Bitcoin, they'll maybe take 5 or 10% of their portfolio and then use DeFi to kind of get some extra an extra revenue stream. So the ICOs, I remember going on Theme Forest, which is a website for buying WordPress themes during the ICO craze. And I remember looking at the top WordPress themes, and they were ICO WordPress themes, and they even had like integrated into them all the Ethereum shit you need to be able to sell your ICO shitcoin tokens. Those days were amazing. But I don't think we're gonna have I think so many people were stung by the ICO craze. People will be a little bit more hesitant, which is good. They're learning, and I think again it's played into Bitcoin's favor, because people don't hear about all these crazy coins which were being thrown up in 2017, but they still hear about Bitcoin no matter how many times the mainstream media and the mainstream press say that it's died and it's dying and it's crashed and it's blah 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 and it's hacked and blah 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 and whatever else. So normal people, they're used to these news cycles, and now they say, okay, Bitcoin's still there. Now it's an all-time high. What the fuck? I thought it crashed to nothing at some point. It's it'll be an interesting year, 2021 for sure.
I think the reason normal people aren't into Bitcoin this time is because they've given up on Bitcoin. And I partially blame the mainstream media. The way that the mainstream media covered Bitcoin last time was as if it was a flash in the pan. This is Bitcoin's only up. They ignored all the previous ups, even though percentage-wise they'd been very similar. And they don't understand Bitcoin technically. They don't understand the price. They don't understand why some people got rich and not them and not others, all that kind of thing. And as soon as CNBC took away that price ticker, they had that little price ticker and Bitcoin went down and down and down. And then at some point, the whole ticker went away. And then now suddenly Bitcoin's back and it's up and the price ticker is back. And not only is it integrated into the CNBC graphics pack this time, last time it was a big white flag that bounced out from the graphics. Now it's integrated where the Dow Jones is. Wow. So Bitcoin's gone from this flash in the pan to having the same exact graphics, the same exact location as the Dow Jones Industrial Average. How's Bitcoin doing? How's the Dow doing? Other major indices such as the Japanese yen or the Japanese market, other things like that, the FTSE, as they call it in the UK, all those kind of things are right now equal with Bitcoin. And that hasn't helped anyone. These people saw Bitcoin disappear from all their news feeds, all their CNBC investment watches. And then from their perspective, it just came back. If you've been watching this channel, if you've been watching Adam Meister's channel, if you've been watching any of these other crypto channels, everybody was down a little. Sure, maybe they said, diversify a little, sell if you have to eat to live or whatever. All these kind of things were down. But long term, everyone generally said, I believe in Bitcoin. I believe we're going to go somewhere with this. Whereas these tech channels, all these investment channels that are supposed to be the experts, and these are the same ones having all the interviews now, having all the big fancy hedge fund people who have suddenly discovered Bitcoin, they let their viewers down. They did not educate their viewers properly. Yes, Bitcoin went up and down. It was wild and crazy. We made a lot of money. We lost a lot of money. It was all those things. But the technology, the idea that Bitcoin could be something more was always there and always easy to see. And lots of different people started YouTube, started podcasts, started Twitters, went to work for companies, did all these things because they could see the same thing that we see, the same thing we talk about, that Bitcoin, the technology is really cool. And unlike the earlier pieces of the internet, like TCP/IP that sends packets around, makes websites possible, you can't invest in TCP/IP. I can't get a kickback every time someone uses a block or sends a packet, but I can kind of with Bitcoin. And that's just been the general point of all these channels, general point of all these podcasts, all of this. And yeah, the media is finally, they're back again, but they're nobody's friend. They don't provide you with a complex stream of information. So I think we're going to move on to the exit question. Or Adam, you want to talk more on that?
I would say the media does not do a good job of reminding everyone that it's still pretty early. That's the problem. They make it seem like there was you missed out, and then they stop talking about it, and then you missed out again. Eventually it's not super early. Like now that Michael Saylor and the big boys are here, it's not at the 2% part of the graph, but it's in like the early 11% part. But yeah, the media, they're impulsive. They just want they're not going to cover a story fully. You can't rely on the media. But yeah, they've done a bad job of telling people that it is still relatively early.
I mean, a lot of them just, like Thomas said, they don't understand the technology and like what it's capable of. And as soon as people do understand the technology, they're like, okay, this thing's probably worth a hell of a lot more money than it's currently valued at. But yeah, no, it's you've also got to remember that all of these media outlets were poo-pooing Bitcoin for such a long time to now turn around and say, oh, actually, this thing's got value and its value is justified. And it's probably going to go up even more. It's quite hard for them.
And that's moving into the exit question. What will it take to get normal people into Bitcoin? You don't have to solve the whole problem now, but we've tried tipping them small amounts. We've tried giving away Bitcoin. We've tried faucets. We've tried telling them they'll get rich, watching them get rich. The value's gone up and down. The wallets have gotten easier. PayPal's there now, yet still normal people won't buy. Adam Meister, what's your idea? How can we drag in some more normal people?
Well, I'm not saying what we can do. I'm saying what will happen, what will make them come in. And it refers back to something you mentioned before, Bank of America. When Bank of America lets you store your Bitcoin at your Bank of America Bitcoin account, which really won't be your Bitcoin, that's when there's going to be a lot of normie people waking up to it. And that's kind of unfortunate because they will control your Bitcoin. They will control your private key. But once the banks become Bitcoin banks also, which they are legally allowed to be right now in the United States, once that happens, oh my, yeah, that'll get the normies. That will definitely get it in. And that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate, but that's just the fact of life, that we've grown up in a society where people are used to third parties taking care of everything for them and trusting third parties. And financially, what's in their head? The banks, that's who they trust. So once the banks give it that kind of seal of approval, oh yeah, they'll be into it. It's unfortunate, but true.
Ben, ARK.
It'll be the slide, so the banks will slide into it, and yeah, a lot of people will interact with Bitcoin through banks. I mean, how Finney thought that, but the very, Bitcoin is something which we can keep an eye on. We know how much money's in the system, and when we can verify it, so it will make banks better. It will just improve banks, and that'll happen with people's lives. Like they'll slide in, like they slid into the internet. You have these crazies who preach on about how the internet's amazing, it's going to change the world, and normal people are like, well, it looks a bit shit and unusable and confusing, and you got these like slow internet speeds where pictures take forever to load and whatever else, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, like your grand's emailing you, and that's Bitcoin. The world will just slide into using Bitcoin, and suddenly everyone will know what multi-sigs are, seeds, blocks, and UTXOs and whatever else. Like suddenly all these terms will become very standardized and mainstream, but it'll be it won't be a pull, it will be just a slide, because Bitcoin is the Trojan and it's just infecting every area of life and society, and it will continue to do that until it's the backbone of much of that. So yeah, society will slide into it just as the internet.
I agree with Ben. I think we've seen a similar thing with MP3. When we started out, MP3 was command line. It was difficult to use. And if you didn't understand what was going on with the compression technology and how much disk space you were saving and why that mattered, you didn't need an MP3. But later on, they all had iPods. They later had iPhones, and suddenly they loved MP3s. It'll be the same thing with Bitcoin. They won't get into it while it's early, like Adam said, holding your own keys, being your own bank. They're not into any of these ideas. That never was a selling point for them. Everyone at home is salivating. They're like, be your own bank, the libertarian dream. And all these other people are like, be your own bank. That's scary. I need armored cars and men with guns, and I need a big vault, and I need one of those spinny things like that. I don't want that. So yeah, no, they don't want any of those things. It's wonderful that PayPal is here now. You used to have to tell people go to Coinbase, or even Cash App is kind of a weird app as opposed to PayPal. They're like, oh, that thing I used once to pay on eBay. They're like, yeah, you go to that thing, you put some money in. And again, unfortunately, as Adam was kind of alluding to, we're running out of time for the normal people to get into Bitcoin and really, sadly, make a lot of money, or even make any money. As we're saying, $1,200 is more than 1,000. It's not, you don't retire on $1,200, but it's more than 1,000. And we're running out of time for that. So let's go back to the original message: was learn how to use Bitcoin. This is like email. You didn't have email early on, and you learned how to use it. And eventually people came along that were worth emailing. You could get jobs, you could talk to people, you could send out your paper to school. There was a whole bunch of reasons to learn how to use email. And in that same way, there's a whole bunch of reasons to learn how to use Bitcoin. Now, maybe PayPal is a training wheel website. You can't withdraw your Bitcoin, but that's going to teach you the different flavors of Bitcoin, the different self-hostings and exchanges and altcoins and ICOs and what's it called now? DeFi, and all these exciting things you can do with Bitcoin. So there's plenty of that out there. We have lots more options for new people to get in. Just maybe not lots more free money, but everyone wants the free money. Moving on to issue 4, Adam's favorite issue. Microstrategy plans $400 million raise. Net proceeds will fund more Bitcoin buys. Adam Saylor is big into Bitcoin, and so is his company, Microstrategy. They're printing $400 million in stocks, which they'll sell to use the money to buy Bitcoin. That's like something we wish we could all do. Back in 2013, Mad Bitcoins is printing $400 million in nothing and will use the money to buy Bitcoin. Adam Meister, obviously, we're all incredibly jealous of Adam Saylor and the power of his company. But is this good for Bitcoin? $400 million more?
Heck yeah. And more power to him if he's got all these suckers that think, he's printing his own money to buy Bitcoin. That's really, I like your interpretation of it. That was my original interpretation of it. It's a little bit more complex because it involves debt and this, that, and the other. But come on now. It's like, he's like, this is what my company does. But I want my company to buy a lot more Bitcoin. So buy shares in my company to help me fund my purchase of more Bitcoin. And people are like, yes! That's all. They should just buy their own freaking Bitcoin instead of buying shares in this company. But hey, people like to complicate matters. So more power to it's Michael Saylor. I call him Adam Saylor. Michael Saylor, Adam Saylor, whatever you want to call. I call him the Bitcoin Noah. We've got all sorts of names out there for him. So more power to him. Apparently, he was able to. There was some news that broke a few hours ago that he accomplished whatever he was trying to do to fund this next purchase. I got to give the guy credit. He is a big corporate CEO, and he's doing all these interviews all over podcast land for Bitcoin. He's a solid spokesperson for Bitcoin. There is no true spokesperson for Bitcoin because it's not centralized like that. Anyone can step up and be a spokesperson. So more power to him. And all the sucker MCs buying his stock it's not stock even. They're buying his debt to fund this. See, they're buying his certificates or whatever. Dude, why don't you guys just buy Bitcoin instead of buying Michael Saylor's certificates? So, hey, good for him. He's taking more Bitcoin off the market. It's becoming more scarce. Scarcity, scarcity, scarcity. Just like in real estate, it's location, location, location. So good luck, Michael Saylor. And guys, if Michael Saylor has to go to these complex ways of buying Bitcoin, perhaps you should just, with some of your extra cash out there, get yourself some too. He's a pretty smart dude. All right. Thank you. Pound that like button.
We're almost up to 40 likes and 60 live viewers. I agree with Adam. If he can print the certificates and sell his debt and use it to buy Bitcoin, it sounds great. I wish I could do it too. It's a little bit before my time, but there was this guy called Pirate at 40, and he ran a very early Bitcoin investment club where he would have done the exact same thing that Saylor would have done, taken all of your money, used it to buy Bitcoins, held the Bitcoins, and then paid you off when it was worth more. Of course, Pirate at 40 allegedly took all the money and didn't buy the Bitcoin, did whatever he wanted, all those kind of things. I don't think Michael Saylor is going to do that, but it is funny to see at the beginning and the end of the current Bitcoin cycle that we're at, similar ideas, similar people, different outcomes. Ben Ark, your thoughts on Michael Saylor's amazing ability to print money and buy Bitcoin?
So I know an embarrassingly little amount on this subject, but the shares that he's printing, the stocks he's printing, they're related to MicroStrategy, yeah?
It's as Adam's saying, it's not quite stocks. I think it's debt in the company. It's convertible bonds.
Okay, well,
there's a really different jargon terms, but basically, out of nowhere, he suddenly has more. Yeah, well, and I still got nothing.
There's lots of traditional investment firms, retirement investment firms which can't invest. They can't buy Bitcoin. So this is an on-ramp for them to be able to have some skin in the game, even though they aren't actually custodian. They don't own the Bitcoin. Michael Saylor does, but they have stocks in the thing, which he's building his asset for MicroStrategy by buying up Bitcoin. So is this not a way for those traditional investment firms, which I think Bitcoin is still classed as a very risky asset, and just as they can't buy gold, it's another way for them, another package, investment in financial package they can use to onboard onto having some skin in the Bitcoin game, even though they're not direct, they're sort of indirectly participating in Bitcoin. So for me, it kind of feels like that. And yeah, props to him. It's the money machine. He's created a thing, and he's able to trade it in for loads of Bitcoin. It's pretty fascinating.
That's a really good point. There are some investors do have some legal limitations. They can't buy Bitcoin, so this is the next best thing, helping fund a guy who can, and it'll make their certificates worth more. So that's a very good point.
And I think that leads well into the exit question. Many people have their money locked up in retirement funds that can't be accessed without paying tax penalties. Many people want to invest in a Bitcoin ETF, which seems like it will never be approved by the FCC or the FEC, sorry. Should people invest in MicroStrategies and other companies like this as an alternative to a full-fledged Bitcoin ETF? Adam Meister.
I thought you were going to ask a question about Barry Silbert there, because that's what his whole business is, what GBTC is based around. People who have their money stuck in 401ks, IRAs, whatever, retirement funds. Okay, should retirement fund people buy MicroStrategy instead? I mean, I just people. There's a bigger point to be made here. You think your money is safe in your retirement fund, that it's never going to get taxed, that the government isn't going to break its promise. I think we're on the verge eventually, with all the money printing and debt that's going on, is that the retirement funds are going to become targets of the government. And so I think people should start to think in a different mindset when it comes to retirement funds. That what they thought was safe in the old days are going to become big government targets, and they should consider Bitcoin as their retirement fund. That's a bigger take on the question. I didn't really address the question, so I'll address the question. If you can't buy Bitcoin, then yeah, a close substitute, I guess. If you can't buy any cryptocurrency, a close sub. If you want to stick in traditional markets, with traditional stocks, the stock that's most correlated with Bitcoin is MicroStrategy. How about that? At this point, at least, maybe someone will try to outdo him.
Now, interesting non-tax advice I want to give everyone. I've heard that because of the coronavirus, there is a loophole where you can withdraw some of your tax money from your 401k without paying a penalty. I'm still withholding and intend to pay and be refunded or whatever. But if you're looking a way to cash out and cash into Bitcoin, not pay that 10% penalty for taking money out early, that might be a possibility. Check with your tax attorney. I want to agree with Adam that MicroStrategy is an interesting way to invest in Bitcoin because of what he said last answer, which was the CEO is out there selling it. The CEO guy has put his money, he's put his personal money, and now he's put his company's money in twice now. And he's out there on every show flogging it, whether he likes it or believes in it or not, whether he just has an investment, wants it to go up. Who knows? Either way, that's a positive for your money, but that's also a negative. Let's remember Elon Musk, very smart, very organized, very together, has a chill afternoon, hangs out with Joe Rogan, burns one, has some whiskey, and the whole world goes nuts. So that could happen to MicroStrategy too. So there's a positive to having a CEO. There's a minus to having a CEO. And it is different than just buying that straight Bitcoin that, has no one specifically representing it. Ben Ark, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, no, he's a great as Adam said, we're decentralized. There is no spokesperson. It's always dangerous when somebody kind of ends up and in a sort of messianic spokesperson role. And I mean, I swear that's why Andreas in sort of 2017 sort of stepped back from the community, because he kind of had that vibe to him. But yeah, no. So yeah, as the Wall Street spokesperson, he's absolutely phenomenal. He's great. And I'm sure all those rich guys really like him and respect him. And yeah, so they're gonna listen to him and they're gonna follow his advice. But on taxes, I mean, like, who knows what a guy like? I mean, he understands finance. He understands these financial packages, and not only is it a way for some traditional retirement funds maybe to be able to have some skin in the game in Bitcoin, it might be a way. So, say if they go for the what's the Bitcoin backed thing? What's it called? I don't know.
ETF.
Yeah, the ETF thing. Yeah. So then it still has that stigma attached to it because it is a Bitcoin thing, isn't it? Whereas some savvy investor within one of these retirement investment companies, they can buy up some MicroStrategy shares. It appears on the the bottom line, and the paperwork is a MicroStrategy thing, but then it's kind of backed by this kind of Bitcoin investment thing which is happening. So it could be a way for them to, because there's a lot of kind of traditional conservative stigma which is still attached to Bitcoin. A stigma attached by the conservatives to Bitcoin. So it could be a way to kind of bypass that as well. I mean, it's great. It's great this dude's coming up with financial packages to help companies.
That is funny though, Ben. It's almost like buying pornography. You don't want to have Bitcoin on your balance sheet. You want it to be disguised in an envelope and it to say something generic like MicroStrategy.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to say Bitcoin. You want to say MicroStrategies.
All right, very good. I think we've reached the end of the questions. We're on to predictions or story of the week. Adam Meister, are you ready with a prediction or a story of the week?
Oh wow! Oh, I forgot this part of the show. I wasn't prepared at all. Yeah, with I don't know, with predictions. I want to make a general one again for those of you who are down about 2020. Dude, 2021 is going to rock in the Bitcoin world. I will say there is an outside of the Bitcoin world, but still in cryptocurrency prediction that I want to make. And even though this is the Bitcoin group, we got to talk about Ethereum real quick here. There's been a lot of people that are down on Ethereum for quite some time in the space, and they like to make fun of Vitalik and all the. We cannot deny it. I mean, it's a real ecosystem that a lot of people are building on. My prediction is they're going to pull off the Ethereum 2.0 splendidly. There are all these dudes in Silicon Valley who want to be part of the next Bitcoin. There are all these dudes in Silicon Valley who love the ethos around Vitalik. I really think Ethereum is going to. I mean, what's it? 3% of a Bitcoin right now. It'll get to back to 6%. I don't know if it'll get to 10% again, but it will be back. For the people who say it's dead, or no, it's not at all there. It's a different beast entirely. And for me, I love Bitcoin. Bitcoin is my thing. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. I am perfectly comfortable with Ethereum doing fine. I don't want Ethereum to die. I'm not about destruction here. But that's a longer term prediction that, hey, 2021 is going to rock for everybody, especially Bitcoiners. But Ethereum is going to have a good year. It's going to be good for it.
Can't hear you, Thomas. You're muted. Predictional story of the week, Ben. My predictional story of the week, Thomas, is he's still muted. Sorry, Thomas. What is it? Oh yeah, Chaos Communication Congress. Christian Russell got in contact, and he said that. So I don't know if any of the viewers know what Chaos Communication Congress is, but it's this big hacker kind of conference which happens between Christmas and New Year's in Germany, in Leipzig, in Germany, where thousands of hackers descend on these big aircraft hangars, and it's absolutely a phenomenal environment. And the Bitcoin assembly in the Chaos Communication Congress, it's so painfully and embarrassingly small. It's like 15 people. However, of those 15 people, it's, I don't even want to say some names, but you've got, half of them are like core devs, like it's a really, they go there for the general sort of hacking vibe. Anyway, because of all the COVID stuff, it's not on. But Rutsal, who's involved in kind of helping organize some of the Bitcoin stuff, he's going to pull World Crypto Network into doing a sort of hack sprint couch where we interview people and we talk Bitcoin, and it's going to happen, I think, between the 27th and 29th. So I've been speaking to Christian about that. Getting that set up, and then obviously we'll try and pull some other some other sort of YouTubers in as well. So Adam, if you're available to help out with that, that'd be great. I think I want some sort of algorithm which I can create so it checks the weather, and if it's like a miserable rainy day like it is today outside where I'm all miserable, that it throws up Adam Meister videos on YouTube for me, because it's just so positive. I need positivity in my life. We were just talking before the show, like in Britain we get so downtrodden by the weather, so it's nice to have such a positive vibe going on today. On Vitalik, yeah, I mean, and Ethereum, like I agree, I want it to succeed. And there's so many projects which have been built on Ethereum. God, I really hope it succeeds, because I don't want those projects to fail. But I do think that there is that, the founder creator attack vector with Vitalik, and there has been some quite concerning interviews, particularly around supply, where it's not necessarily as important to be able to account for every single Ethereum which is out there as it is in Bitcoin, because that's not really its model. But he didn't come off so well in as a spokesperson. We've talked a lot about spokespeople for Ethereum. So that I just wanted to say that on Vitalik. But yeah, I mean, hopefully, Ethereum will do well. But no, my prediction is Chaos Communication Congress is still going ahead in a sort of digital lame way, but we will have some great like interviews and talks and stuff, and hopefully like a 48-hour Bitcoin couch going on at some point. So that should be cool between Christmas and New Year's.
That sounds great, Ben, and we'll have to check that out here. We'll have links on Twitter as well. I don't have much to say this week. Just want to thank Adam and Ben for joining us. Adam, you want to show us that just for a second? Go ahead.
Happy Hanukkah, everybody.
Happy Hanukkah.
Second night is tonight. Follow me on Twitter at TechBalt, TECHBALT. Pound that like button.
Thanks so much to Adam Meister for joining us, as well as Ben. We're up to 45 likes. Remember, you can still like the video even if it's not live. You can join the like crew. You don't have to be live to do that. Thanks to everybody for joining us. Be sure to subscribe down below. Give us a like. Check out the t-shirts. We've got donation information and more. Thanks to everyone for donating on Twitter. We had a very small fundraiser for Avatar. He runs the Bitcoin Facebook group. He used to run the Bitcoin Google Plus group as well. And his computer exploded. So thanks to everybody for donating. We raised him like $750 for a new computer. So it was really cool that happened, and we were able to come together for that with the Christmas spirit. So even if we're staying home and staying inside and that kind of thing, we can still help each other with Bitcoin. So thanks to everybody for joining us. Thanks for. See, it's so great when you used to play music. You have this thing where you set a timer for like 30 seconds. And then just right before 30 seconds, and another timer goes off in your head. So thanks to Jitsi for cutting us off every hour. You surprised us at the end there. But we do enjoy your open sourceness, and it's been good. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Give us a like, say hello. If you missed the chat, let us know in the comments. Bitcoin higher and lower. Add your own voice to the comments. We've been trying to delete the spammy ones. So it's good to have some normal comments as well. And I don't know, Ben. Oh, you're going to do the faucet again?
Slam that faucet up there. Slam the faucet again. Okay, so if you've got a Lightning wallet, a wallet Satoshi, a Blue wallet, BLW wallet, which is the best Lightning wallet, and the first Lightning wallet, which everyone overlooks, BLW.
Well, has no one claimed it yet, Ben? Do they know how to do this? If you install,
oh wait, there. I mean, yeah. Let me. I haven't even checked. See, I can check, and
if you install Wallet of Satoshi on the iPhone, or
oh yeah, someone claimed it.
There we go. And you scan this thing. It's like a Bitcoin faucet back in the old days. You get the Bitcoin. And so same thing, you get the little bit of Satoshis in the Lightning.
Someone pulled 2,000 sats, but there's another 8,000 to pull. So yeah.
All right. So
after the video's over, go back, get your wallet Satoshi.
Pause the video, try that out. Give it a try. We're up to 50 viewers and 50 likes. That's pretty cool, but that's where we're going to end it today. So thanks so much to everybody for joining us. Until next time, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
After you do end, it does this like